Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started in another few seconds. So this session is also being Facebook Live. So just be mindful of it. So we'll get started in few minutes, not few minutes, few seconds. Really excited to hear the stories of our speakers today. All right, so we will get started with the session and others can join us along. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Good to see so many of you on a Saturday morning. And again, we will get started and others can join along as they come. We have people joining us through Zoom and Facebook as well. And this session is also live streamed on Facebook. Because we are live streaming on Facebook, I request the participants through Zoom to turn off your videos. Yeah, and also mute your audios. So welcome to the ArtSparks Foundation session called Stories of Change. This is a very special session and we have some special speakers with us today who will be taking us through their journeys. They are the past participants of our annual professional development program called ArtSparks Collective. We have been running the ArtSparks Collective program for the past 4 years and have partnered with more than 30 plus organizations, nonprofit organizations all over India. And this is going to be our 5th year. We are excited to welcome our new cohort as well. And these organizations are working in different areas, such as early childhood development, working with children in conflict areas, tribal areas, working with children with special needs, working with women, communities, providing learning opportunities to marginalized children, and so on. And this year also, we are looking forward to work with more organizations doing some amazing work. So through ArtSparks Collective, we develop the capacities of other partner organizations to implement impactful art-based learning interventions in their own spaces. So today here we have gathered to know some of their journeys. So the intent of today's session is twofolded. One is again about ArtSparks cohort members coming together. So even though we are in touch with cohort members, but this is a good opportunity for all of us to come together and share our stories with all of you, share their experience, work in the field. But the larger intent is also to reach out to people who are interested to know more about art and the connection between art and education. And we would like to provide you all with stories of transformation, of how meaningful art experiences can help any child to think deeply, solve problems, think flexibly, be confident, make decisions, be empathetic, and so much more. You'll get to hear it from our cohort members today. So this is an intent from our end. So some of you might be already in this journey. Some of you might have applied for ArtSparks Collective for this year. We are happy that all of you are here. And even for those who haven't applied, we hope that this session will give you some new ideas, some answers to your questions, or some new perspectives on education, art, and art education in general. So once again, welcome everyone. Before we move on, a little housekeeping. Those who have joined us through Zoom, please turn off your videos and your videos on mute because we are going on live on Facebook. And we have a question answer session towards the end after all the presenters present their presentations. So, but throughout this speakers presenting, you can jot down your thoughts and questions. You can post it in the comment box also, but we will be taking it up during the Q&A session. So now without any delay, I will first hand it over to Nisha Nair. She is our founder and executive director to briefly introduce ArtSparks Foundation, the work that we do, and also maybe a little about Nisha, about how ArtSparks Collective came into existence. So over to you, Nisha.
Thank you so much, Roshni. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And thank you for joining us this morning as well. I'll be very brief because I want us to really focus on the presentations that are going to be happening today. But as Roshni mentioned, we're really excited to be joined today by three wonderful educators who are associated with three wonderful organizations that ArtSparks has been really blessed to partner with. I think every organization that we have a chance to partner with is really such a fulfilling experience for us to be able to see people on similar journeys, looking to empower children, looking to empower local communities and so forth. And so for us, it's always such an amazing thing to kind of partner with organizations. So these organizations that we're going to be kind of looking at today are a small sampling, like Roshni mentioned, of many other organizations also that we've partnered with. That really for us exemplify this vision that we had of taking what we do with the children that we serve, which is developing 21st century learning and life skills. We were seeking a platform. We were looking to create a platform by which to be able to engage other organizations, help build their capacity in this wonderfully enriching domain of art education that is often underutilized. And we wanted to be able to ensure that we're able to take the best practices that we've kind of developed in the field and be able to empower other organizations, build the capacity of other organizations so that more children could have access to these learning opportunities that beyond the children that ArtSparks serves, that we're able to really reach out to many more through these, again, wonderful organizations working across India. And so today's organizations are a wonderful sampling of that, the vision that we had to empower other organizations in this domain and to be able to spread knowledge around art education and make sure that it reaches various different parts of this country. It's really kind of exemplifies that in a way, and it gives you an opportunity to engage and understand the kind of work that's happening in various parts. So once again, it gives us immense pleasure, and it's immensely gratifying for us to be able to have these three organizations and folks from these organizations join us today. Without any further ado, I'm going to step back. I'm going to give you all an opportunity to be inspired and also be informed by what they're doing as well. So thank you again for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you, Nisha. So, all right, we'll get started with our speakers now. So first we have Soumya from Shamtalia Foundation. Soumya was part of our recent cohort 2020-21. So that was the first year. We also went virtually. Earlier we used to have these ArtSparks collective sessions happening in Bangalore. So this time also due to the pandemic, we will be going virtual. So Soumya will be introducing about herself and her organization. But what I would like to share is my experience working with Soumya. So when I think of Soumya, like as you see, it's always a smiling face, a ball of full energy and very curious, ask a lot of questions. She doesn't accept status quo easily, always like challenging herself, always eager to learn new things. And right after the ArtSparks Collective, she kicked off by implementing art interventions with children in her organization. She's a big time hustler and who will make sure that things happen. So this is Soumya for us. Now I invite Soumya to share her journey with us. Over to you, Soumya.
Thank you so much, Roshni. I'm beginning with blushing cheeks. All that praise. Yes. Roshni, could you just confirm if you can see the screen? Thanks. So yes, hi, my name is Soumya. I represent Shamtalia Foundation. And as you can see in the image also, it's a collage of children, and also you can see a parent showing off her, proud that she voted for the school management committee in her village. So I think this image best describes the kind of work we do. We are an organization currently working in Udaipur district, two tribal rural blocks called Kotada and Gogunda. And our intervention is mainly to focus that how can we make government schools places for inspiration, places where children feel welcome to learn, and they also get that kind of support from parents. So a holistic impact that we're trying to bring in government schools of Kotoda and Gogunda. But apart from Rajasthan, we're also working in 2 government schools in Delhi. So I think if I very simply put our vision, we want children waking up in the morning saying, okay, aaj school jana hai, like with all that happiness and gust. I think that's very simply put key, where they feel excited to come to school because they know that they're going to learn something new, something exciting is happening. And similarly, the holistic impact that we're trying to bring is integrated with uh, uh, social emotional learning, and also on pedagogy, like basic foundational numeracy and literacy. And we're focusing on primary grade students currently. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. Yes. So when I always think about this question, why did I join ArtSparks Collective? I have to give you a small little context of one of the programs that we do in Shamtale. And to give the context of this program, I invite the listeners to maybe close their eyes for a minute and just listen to my voice and try to imagine the things that I say. So let's imagine this beautiful world that you're in, and you're entering the gates of your dream school. What are the things you see? Are you seeing children working in groups, playing, using a lot of material? There is music coming from one of the classroom. There's theater coming. You're seeing children practice theater in another classroom. You're seeing children paint, use their colors of imagination. And a lot of elements of this school is created by children themselves, because it's their own space. They have contributed to the making of this school. So I'll let you be with this school for 5 to 10 more seconds. And let's see what else you see. Thank you so much. I see some smiling faces, and I would love to hear what all you saw. So I think the Learning Festival program that Shamtalia curated is built on this imagination of our dream school, of a school that truly nurtures and fosters children's creative potential, where children become the designers of their own education, where they are given exposure to multiple mediums to learn, and not just sitting in one place, sitting in a line far away from my friend. Can they collaborate more with their friends? Can we give them a space where they're asking questions, where they're playing with new types of material each day? So when I got to know about ArtSparks Collective, and I read through their, the purpose note, I thought that this is so much in relation to what we wish to do through Learning Festival. And I really wanted to attend and experience this workshop. But the second thing was also around, there were so many terminologies that were used, which I was not aware of, because for me, art class was whatever teacher draws on the board, copy that. So that's the kind of art experience I've got as a child growing up. So I wanted to upskill myself and understand this discipline in a lot more scientific and clear manner. So yes, this is a small glimpse of the Learning Festival, where children get opportunity to explore multiple mediums. Here you can see our kids stitching their own bags. This is from the products of the stitching studio. And I wanted to understand how could art integrated studios can also be part of the Learning Festival program as well. So some of the key learnings for me was, I think the ArtSparks team are like excellent in planning. Even though it was a virtual session, I felt so connected. Each of the session was very carefully designed. So I felt like one of the biggest takeaways was how focused each of their plans were. And also within the art integrated curriculum, I didn't know that you could create an entire session on observation skill itself. You could have just an hour focusing to enhance children's observation skills. So I think that was for me like a groundbreaking learning through the program. And also to understand scaffolding, because I had just heard this term scaffolding. I never really experienced it on myself. So that was another biggest takeaway for me. How do you provide scaffolds for children's step-by-step learning, where they also feel protected, but also feel safe enough to experiment, to try new things, and they don't feel so scared to do that. So I think these two were my key takeaways, but I'm sure there were more, but I would require like an entire 1 hour for myself, and I want to hear my other friends as well. And the biggest mindset shift was use of qualifiers. So whenever even my nephew would come up to me showing an artwork of his, I would be like, wow, what a beautiful artwork you did. I'm so proud of you. You're just 5 years old. But I realized that kind of creates a wall where we don't have more space to talk about what they've created. So after that, I remember having more conversations with my nephew on what he has created, be it my niece or my nephew. Whenever they came up with an artwork, I would be like, oh, so I wonder why you did this. What were you thinking when you were using this color? And, that creates more space for them to build their own language of, explaining what they've done. The second thing was representational art, and how art, like an art class doesn't mean that everyone have created that paper boat or everybody's mask looks the same. But can it come out in a unique way, their own voice? Can that come out? So this was again a biggest mindset shift. And even me, like within learning festivals, so we used to have activities where same products were created by children, but I'll show some photographs. You could see how every child's unique expression was coming out. So this was the second biggest shift that I experienced. And third one's the importance of novelty when creating learning experiences. The more we take, the more newness we bring to the curriculum, the more material that we take. And for example, in one of the sessions, we handed over magnifying lens to children to, help them observe things in a more detailed manner. And that really instigated so much curiosity in children. So yeah, these were the three things that I felt was the biggest shift I experienced. What stood out for me was this action learning project. So another beautiful part about ArtSparks Collective was whatever learning we experience, we are given a small project that we have to go ourselves and try it out with children. And this was the creation, the outcome of that action learning project. So we named this project Ajab Gajab Janwar, and it was a paper collage where we had to come up with our own imaginary animals. And I think this itself speaks volume of what I've been trying to say in the previous slides, how each child's different expression has come up, and you can even see the names that they've given. It's so unique. So I think what stood out for me was this action learning project. It really gives you an opportunity to go try out what you've experienced. And my learning became so strong. Like, even if you wake me up in the night and tell me to give a presentation on my ArtSparks Collective, I can do that, because the experience has been so strong that I now don't require any like solid thing that I need to prepare for 5 days. I've just strengthened, crystallized that learning too much. And that happens because you've gone and tried it out yourself. So how did I now, once my action learning project was completed, how I took it to the organization? So you can see me there sitting with my fellows. So this is one of our training sessions that we do before we move on to do a learning festival program. And the middle photograph is one of the creations by our fellows. And on the right, you can see the child. So I wanted to show, I got trained by ArtSparks and we worked with our fellows. Our fellows crystallized their own learning and they took it to the children. So this was, we conducted learning festivals where close to 1,500 children were reached. And imagine that many collages, that many shadow puppets were created. And it was truly wonderful to see. Even for our fellows, it was such a new experience. They were saying things like, I have never, like my own experience with art was never like this. I had never conducted something where I'm just observing the image of an animal and trying to then move ahead with my medium. Because when we were growing up, collages, we would directly go to the paper, but there is a lot of merit when you actually begin from observation. So those were some of the anecdotes from fellows that it was a very different experience for them. And even with children, I would like to narrate one anecdote, especially, and it goes with the third image here, which I'm pointing out. So there were a group of children that were playing around with, observing the images through the magnifying lens. And it was a hot summer's day in Rajasthan. And slowly they started seeing the paper burn. And they're like, oh my God, what's happening? What magic is this? So it was very interesting for them to see that. And they started picking up dried leaves or lying, like any old paper lying down. And they were experimenting with that. And, that's the beauty of experiences to children, that they start discovering new things. And then I remember one of the fellows saying that we had a separate conversation around why the paper started burning. So it was a beautiful environment that was created. And there was another one of the shadow puppets, like on the fourth image that you can see. So one of the child created a shadow puppet, and it was a plant that they had to create, which has superpowers. And they said that this plant has superpower of stationary material. Like whenever I need a pencil or a book, I just have to go ask this plant and it will be granted for me. And similarly with fellows, so they're supposed to do community visits after school, and some of the houses are scattered, they're really far. So they said that I want a superpower tree which stretches its branches and fetches all the kids and puts them in my learning circle. So look at their imagination, look at the kind of conversations that happens because of such experiences. And on the first image here is also one of the fellows, Satish from Gogunda block. He created this box so that children can understand what the shadow puppet will look like on the last day when they're presenting it to their parents, and how could they move it around and create a storyline around it. So I think, and we never trained him to do this in our training, but it was him. He went and Googled and found these ideas. And I think it's important to create that space. And from there, fellows will do their 4 times or 5 times. So, and on the second image, you can see, even in ArtSparks Collective, we were taught, like, compare the size of the head to what you're drawing. So the child is trying to measure the head through 2 fingers and then take it up to the artwork as well. So these are some anecdotes that I thought. Yes. So what next is in store for us? So what next is in store for us? We'll continue to implement these curriculum in our Learning Festival program. And also with because of COVID, since schools are closed, we're trying to create a cadre of local volunteers and trying to take them micro art activities so that they can do it with their brothers and sisters who live nearby. And so I think this has been my experience so far. And I would like to just show this, sorry.
I think you're going behind, Soumya.
Sorry, So this has been my experience so far, and I've seen this quote many times on Facebook, and I think it's really cool, like the earth without art is so we don't want that. So it'll just be amazing if we take this experience to more and more children so that earth never becomes air. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Soumya, for starting in such a high note. And as always, your energy is so high, and through the images, we could see it translated to children, to your fellows, and to your organization. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see your journey put together in such a beautiful way. And also, I can see some of the participants from Shamtalia Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing this space with us. So now we'll go to our next speaker to hear another amazing story. So we have Rohit from Lakin, Let's Educate Children in Need, Delhi. So for the last ArtSparks Collective, the 2021 cohort, Rohit and his colleague took part together, both of them very inquisitive, reflective, And Rohit is one person who's always open to learn new things and also think about how he can take it back to his children. Always Rohit and Ankush, I see them, collaborating. Like the both of them will be having discussions during ArtSparks Collective and very reflective. They will share their learnings with all of us. And one thing that I noticed in Rohit and what I like is how he reflect on his own actions and also acts upon it. So never hesitate to accept and learn from his mistakes, and also try to do new things. Like if something is wrong, then how can I make it correct? So always putting that effort. And along with bringing art to his children, Lakin is also doing amazing work in empowering their lovely women facilitators through art. So without any delay, I will invite now Rohit to share his journey and amaze all of us. Welcome, Rohit.
Thank you, Roshni. Thank you for saying such lovely words. And yeah, so ArtSpark is very special to us. Let me just share the PPT. Yeah, so, okay. So let me just first introduce myself. I'm Rohit. I am from Delhi. We work with an organization called Listen, and that is Let's Educate Children in Need. I did my, something brief about me. I did my schooling from Delhi. I did my college from Delhi, and we're working in Delhi. So I think I'm full of a lot of things, but today I'm going to describe myself in 3 words, which is like I'm a storyteller, I'm a learner, and I'm definitely an art educator. And thanks to ArtSpark for giving me that confidence that I can call me myself an art educator. So I think I have explored myself a lot. I have checked my potentials and what I can do. As Roshni was telling a lot of things, I was reflecting like, yeah, that is very true. And how she knows that, yes, that all is true for me. Uh, Lesson happened to us in 2015 when I was in college. When I was in the second year of my college, and it happened to us because we just have some energies we were full of energies. I was only 20 years old, and we wanted to do something, and we wanted to do something apart from our college, and then that's how we started Lesson. The only motive was that we saw some problems and we want to change that, and we saw that we can do that, so we'll do that effort. A lot of things happened past 6 years. It was a roller coaster ride. We learned a lot of things. We unlearned a lot of things. There was many failures. There were many successes as well. Happy moments, sadness. There were a lot of things. So this was a brief about like the journey of Lesson. Now, what we do. We have an early childhood education program. We run a Balwadi, which is a community center, which is in Okla, Delhi. And here, 3 to 6 year children come. They have classes. They have play classes. We focus on domains of development. So all of these things happen with little tiny children. And there is another program which is Healthy Monday. We do Healthy Mondays. Since it is COVID time, we cannot have that programs regularly, so we had a beach ka rasta nikala, jisme we are giving worksheets and we are giving nutrient, we are awareing people around us, people around the community about the nutritious food. So that is about the Healthy Mondays. Our third program is the community library. So we set up a community library in that space only. There are a lot of books, children come, children read. So that library is open for all, not only for the 3 to 6 year age bracket. It is open for all the community members as well. So we try to make safe learning spaces with children, and art has been one of the key element to the organization and to me as well. Art has been a very special thing since the age of 2 or 3, I guess. I'm doing art. When I was very that young, my grandfather gave me modeling clay to play with it, and since then I think that clay, chikni mitti hoti thi us time, so he gave me that to play with that, and after that the journey begins, and I was like, I started making a lot of things. I'm very fond of having colors, so my home is always packed with a lot of colors. So it happened like that. So art has been really very special. So when I read about the ArtSparks collective, so the primary motive to join this program was because art is very special to me, and art, I love doing that. So and I also want to learn how I can implement these kinds of programming with my children, and what more we can do, what is the power of, what is the true potential of the art. Because my experiences were very similar to most of us. Like there was a teacher in the class, and she directs like, you have to draw this and you have to make this, and we just do that. But somewhere inside me, I believe that no, this is not art, there is something more to it, but I didn't know where to go. And I was just longing. It was like ArtSpark was like I was longing for it for very long, and it happened to me. And I'm very grateful that I just joined this program, and learned a lot, unlearned a lot. More than learning, there was a lot of unlearning. So that was how I joined the program. During the program or after the program, everything changed, and I started seeing things with different perspectives, with more deeper level. I understood that how we can make conversations, the importance of conversations, and what all what how that conversations can create impact, how that conversations can create changes. So it was like from directing steps, because in our organization we have done a lot of, before the ArtSpark we have done a lot of art sessions, drawing sessions, which was like, you have to make this product, you have to make this thing. So it was like more one directional approach. It was like someone sitting in the center, and everyone is copying that. So we have done that, and we have done a lot of activities and sessions with that. But during the ArtSpark and after that, after this journey, it was more of exploring the possibilities. We started questioning ourselves, we started questioning our methods, we started questioning among the team, and we started making inquiries with the children that what more we can do, what is the new thing which we can do, what are the possibilities we can see, we can discover. So it was like a mind shift, not in me, but also in the entire team. And we are still trying to like make it flow in the community as well, in the children we work with the children we work. So it's like it's an ongoing process. But yeah, definitely it was directing steps from directing steps to exploring the possibilities we can see. So I have a lot of stories which I want to share, but I'll be sharing some of the stories. So first is about, as you can see the picture, so he's a child of our facilitator, and he comes daily at our center, at our Balwadi. So his name is Tishu. So when he came to our center, he used to cry a lot, and he did not leave her mother, and he did not used to participate in anything. There was no sharing with him. He's a 6-year-old child. He's going to be 6 years in next 15-20 days. So when he came to us, he was I guess 4 or 4.5 years old, and we didn't know what to do with him, because other children of his age was more like in sharing or doing or having conversation. So he was very different for us, and we didn't understood that what to do with him, and he was very scared a lot of times, and but he was very different. We didn't understood the karna kya chahiye, matlab, what is the right approach to deal with this child. But we were just exploring that thing, and one day we discovered that he loved colors, and he loves to do a lot of things with colors. So personally, I started talking with him. I started initiated conversation with him, but he was not he was like mujhe nahi aapke paas aana, and then he ran away to her mother. So it took time, a lot of time, in fact, I think a year almost. And but I understood that there is something from which he is attracted, that is art. So धीरे धीरे I started involving him with a lot of art sessions. I gave him paint brushes, I gave him colors, papers, like also has very surprisingly, when we were doing the ALP project we did with him, so he was tearing paper in very small pieces. So I was very surprised, because at the age of at his age, children, like, they tear a lot of big shapes, but he was doing very small shapes. So that was very evident that his fine motor skills are much developed. And so that was a small observation that I was making, and the entire team was making. So one day I gave him the colors, and he was just completely indulged in that paints. So he just tried to make. I just gave him only 3 colors, like red, blue, and yellow, and he was doing a lot of mixing, and he was telling me. I was constantly asking him, Kishu, what are you doing? What is this and what is that? So he does not make representational things, but he know what he's making. So he like in the image background, in the background image, he has made this image. So there is always he said there is a bum, मतलब एक bum है जो ऊपर उड़ रहा है, तो इस तरीके से, मतलब he always tell कि there are something, but in bits and pieces. Gradually, after a year or something, like now, what he do, he whenever I go to the center, he ask, "Hi bhaiya, kaise ho?" He initiate the conversation. So I'm just proud and also very happy to see that change, that it happened by the time that he asked himself, "Ki kya ho gaya bhaiya?" So whenever I'm doing something or I'm confused, so he come to me, and then he asked me things. पहले ये हमारे साथ lunch नहीं करता, so we all sit together and we have the lunch, but he usually sit apart from us and share and do his lunch. But now when we wash our hands for the lunch, he is the first child to सबसे पहले lunch लेके आएगा, and then he sit with us and have the lunch with us. So sharing developed. He became more empathetic. I don't know. It was not a one-day thing, but it happened gradually, and I think just because art, he was able to express himself. He was able to do a lot of things. Now he smiles a lot. He eat with us. He tells a lot of stories. कि मैंने आज ये किया, मैंने आज वो किया, आज मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. He's doing a lot of things. But yeah, so he has some developmental delays. We figure it out very later stage that he has some developmental delays, but now he's doing amazing. So I think that is the power of art. That is a very real power of art that happened in front of us. From we were confused to everything is evident. That was super powerful for us, and also motivated. It also motivated us that yes, art can do a lot of things, and we talk about him a lot in art. So with other children, when we started doing it, so for the first time, I remember we did this on the 26th of January last year, this year only, sorry. So we had a big sheet and light on the floor, and we just gave the brushes and the tempera paints, and children were like, they were so excited because it was the first time they were doing it with full freedom. Like we were not saying कि आप ये color ही करो या यही करो. We although made a map of India, but they were not restricted to do कि यही करना है. They were doing anything, so they just jump on the sheet of paper. They were just they were doing paint, and after doing this, it became like this. And they were still saying कि अभी भी इसमें जगह है, we can do that. So there was a moment that we were not giving the paints to them, so they were thinking like what like अब मुझे paint तो करना है, क्या करूँ? So they were asking for the water. So they were asking for the drop of water. So they were mixing it together. Sometimes there were 2-3 childs. They were mixing bowl of colors in one bowl, and then they were using the paint because they have to do the paint. They were liking it, and they were constantly thinking that अब तो सर ने भैया ने मना कर दिया, अब वो कलर नहीं मिलेगा, तो अब क्या करें? So they were solving those small problems that we haven't seen previously in any of the sessions, and that is definitely because we had this robust approach. So yeah, these are some images that we did in past with our children. Like clay, and these are some online sessions. The 3 images, these are the online. We did some sessions virtually with our children, and they were guided with their parents at home. They were getting the support, and we instructed them that अब आपको ये करना है. The middle image, since it was the lockdown in April and May, so we didn't have the resources, and we cannot also send the resources. So we were also as a team, we were thinking what resources we can use. So we used the wrappers of food wrappers and the waste cardboard. So they were making use of the wrappers, because the wrappers are silver at the back, and at the front it is like it is of many colors, red, blue, green. So it is like people, children were tearing that wrappers and making artwork from them. So it was very amazing to see these kinds of things with our children, which they haven't done it. Also, we also haven't done it in our childhood. But yeah, so it's very amazing to see children responses. Since children respond to these kinds of activity, they are completely, when they are with this activity, they're completely into it, and we can talk a lot with them. Like the children at this age, they talk a lot. If they are happy, they'll tell you everything. So conversations are very, very important for us to understand the child needs and to cater to them. So conversations are really important. So again, there was one thought when we were very hesitant, and we were in very doubt that children can do these kinds of activities or not. They are very young, and maybe they'll not do like this. Or we were also expecting that children will do representational or not, a lot of things. So, but I have found out that children are capable of doing everything. We cannot underestimate the children, and they can do a lot of things. And you just have to let go of your expectations and cater their learning and cater their needs and everything. So they can do a lot of things. So these are the images we did a storyboarding session with a little older children, like 6-7 years children. So since we do a lot of activities with the books, so we had an audio story session, and then we had a storyboarding session. So again, this was the first storyboarding session, and this was the images from the first storyboarding session, and every child was like, और बनाना है, और करना है. So we have to stop them. नहीं, अब time हो गया है. We'll do it in the next session. So these are the things we come, and very interesting, amazing, and motivating thing for us. Yes, these are also the images. Children, those children जिन्होंने कभी sharing नहीं करा, कि collaborate नहीं करा, we can do things together. They are doing things together. They are solving each and other एक दूसरे का problem solve कर रहे. So this was happening very organically, very naturally, without giving a lot of effort. Just simple instructions, and they were doing it very naturally. So yeah. The next thing was breaking myths about art, because first thing, as I said, it was more of unlearning than learning. So first I have to break myths about art, and then when I took back these learning to the community, with the facilitator, there was a lot of things which I have to break it, and still I'm figuring out कि अब और क्या कर सकते हैं, because as our experiences are not like our experiences, as I said, it is one directional. So we used to जितना भी हम कर ले वापस से हम उसी approach पे आने का, because it is easy for us to come to that approach. But giving that confidence to our facilitators and to everyone in the team, to the children, so it is very important, because वही approach वापस लेके आने से there is no use. So first thing which I figured out is that कि facilitators are very in the state of denial that they can't do it, that art is not meant for them and they can't do it, and which is like a dhakka, really. No, you can't do. You can do it, and everyone can do art. Art is made for everyone. So I have to do small things to motivate them. I have to push them that yes, you can do it. I have to do a lot of conversation. I have to show them that yes, you can do that. So took again a lot of sessions, a lot of months, brainstorming sessions. Then gradually they started believing, yes, they can also do that. So these are the images on the left, a facilitator with the self-portrait. So she made a self-portrait with included a lot of details about her, and she was also saying कि इस पोर्ट्रेट में मैंने आपको जितना बताया वो तो है, लेकिन there are also some hidden things जो कि मैं नहीं बताना चाहती, but there are some things. So it was like कि okay, so she felt very relieved that she can express it without any judgments. So this was there was, we tried to make puppets for the storytelling. So there were shadow puppets, there were puppets with the found material. So we had our online sessions as well. So we tried to make include that with our storytelling sessions. So that's how we were engaging our facilitators. So that is a little brief about like what is happening, what happened after ArtSpark, during ArtSpark, and what is happening now. So what next step is, I want to explore. I think I am still on the exploration journey to explore what more I can do, how I can reach more children, how I can give that confidence to everyone that yes, art is meant for everyone, how I can break those myths, and art is not just a fun activity, is a lot more. And it can really, because I have felt that, I have seen that clearly in front of my eyes. So I think it can definitely bring a lot of changes in personal, in somebody's life, because my perspective of seeing things have been changed. Like I have been a good listener previously, but I have become more empathetic and more active listener, and more into like digging out like what is the more possibilities we can do. So I think I am still on the learning journey. I am still on the exploring journey, and I just want to continue it, and I just want to explore more hidden treasures of art and with children and with everyone. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Rohit, for sharing your journey, and lovely to hear your journey and also about Keshu's journey with art. It was wonderful. So yeah, we have another one more speaker with us. Because all of them are sharing their stories, it is taking a little longer. So request all of you to just bear with us for another, maybe we'll extend the session by another 10-15 minutes. So without any delay, I'll welcome our next speaker. We have Ramya with us from Makla Jagrati. So Ramya, a little words about you. Ramya is more than a cohort member to us. She is also volunteering with ArtSparks, helping out in our research team, a very active volunteer and excited to work with us. A very deep thinker, a very highly reflective individual. You'll get to know when you hear her story. And something that I like in Ramya and that I would like to share is that we always say that change begins in our home, within ourselves. But for most of us, we are not able to follow it. And we always try to go out and change others or change the way people think, change others' actions. And we talk about changing the world. But Ramya is a person who constantly reflects on herself, her work, thinks about what more can be done, what new can be done. And she always strives to do the best in whatever she is, in everything she does, be it an educator, facilitator, or a parent. So very excited to have Ramya with us today. So Ramya also joined with one of her colleagues from Makla Jagrati for ArtSparks Collective, but we have Ramya now. So Ramya, inviting you to share your journey with us. Welcome, Ramya.
Thanks a lot, Roshni. You're making me emotional now. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, because I'll just start because it's already getting late. And thanks, Rohit and Soumya, for setting that strong context for me to speak. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yes, as I'm myself, Ramya, and I'm a content developer, creative facilitator, and self-made educator, which I owe a lot for this ArtSparks and EdSpark collective, because it really made me an educator. Like I can, like Rohit, resonate with Rohit what he said. Like I can strongly say that I am an educator now. And I work with this organization called Makala Jagrati, wonderful organization, great people who work with the same vision of bringing out changes in underprivileged or like marginalized children. We work with early childhood Yuva Jagriti youth programs, and we also work with uh, holistic development of children in all over government schools and also in CCI homes in child care centers. This is how my journey started with Makal Jagrati. And for me, when I joined, like after joining Makal Jagrati, my perception about art, or what I realized was that art is not only for artists, because I was developing creative content there, and I realized that everyone are so creative. But actually, I didn't have that. I didn't know how to bring out an artist in me or bring out an artist in anyone else. But I knew that everyone are artists, but I didn't know how to bring out an artist in somebody else or in myself. So that is how when I got a chance, I got a chance to attend ArtSparks Collective, recommended by Sunaina, my colleague, which I really took it up because for me, I really love exploring different methods and different ideas and perception of learning. So ArtSparks happened. And this image here, that's a self-portrait that we did in our ArtSpark collective program. It's very special to me, not because it has come out like really well or anything, but mainly because how much it gave an opportunity for me to think, reflect, and take creative risk in myself. And it also allowed me to break my own barriers. I was struggling. I got answers to so many questions of myself when I did this art. So that is why it's very special to me. And of course, the whole experience here, if you can see some of the work that we did, and there are lots to say, but it gave us so much opportunity. The art itself, first of all, was so non-judgmental, and on top of it, like ArtSparks program itself was so deep and very reflective. And now I just want to say this, like I am changing this art to ArtSparks. ArtSpark has the power to transform, to illuminate, to educate, inspire, and motivate. Okay, thanks a lot. And I learned a lot, which I cannot probably finish it in 15 minutes because Roshni has given me only 15 minutes. But some key points here, key learnings are, as a content developer, actually, when I look back at my own content, it looked really, such new, like it was like a crap. I really didn't like my own content after ArtSparks. So I started thinking, I really like that backward planning that I learned there, like how now when I create something, I have an objective in mind, and then going backward and creating what is required to achieve that objective. That is something very stood out, and that's a key learning for me. And scaffolding, I have not heard of it like before ArtSparks, so it really helped me as a facilitator. Now I think like how to guide. I mean, scaffolding really helped the participants or anybody as an audience to achieve their objectives, how that really helps step by step to achieve the objectives of the participants or even the facilitator. And the participatory demo that we did, that it was really special, which I'm applying in my work that I'm doing, and it has huge impact. And some of the mindset shift that I had was especially with the material abundance, because I did had like a lot of resistance over material, maybe because of the background that I come from, because the resources were like very limited, and then I had that like to use them, even if I have a material, I'm little scared I don't use it like with abundance. So then that is when I realized in ArtSparks that it really transformed me. I really reflected that using material in abundance can create so much possibilities in us. It helps us to push. And now I use it, and also allow my children or like others to use it, like because it can bring out a lot of possibilities. And especially for me, as a homeschooler, I always had a question about, like, I always believe that I always believe in learning with freedom, but still I had a question, like, how much is freedom, how much freedom, or how much is not. So that I also got an answer through ArtSparks, that freedom with framework is really, really important to bring out the true potential in children. And now art is not just an hobby for me, but it's a way of life. It has become, that shift happened in me. Like in everything that I do, I really want to integrate art because it gives so much opportunity, and it itself creates such a non-judgmental space. Yeah, after this ArtSpark, really, I was very, very excited to go back and implement it in my organization. So we did like ALP for me was very special because I did my LP with childcare centers. There we have children from, as Roshni mentioned earlier, like very vulnerable children, and then there we have like moving floating population where children would live as short as like 2 days or 3 days, or it can go till like 1 month. So, but it really worked very well for the children, like floating population as well. Even even if they attended for 1 day or 1 session, it was as powerful as like if they have completed the whole session. And I remember how children were become so confident at the end. Some of this work here was did into as an ALP where they collaborated, they were talking, they were having conversation. Here they are ideating here, and at the end of the session they were like, okay, why don't you please continue this session, please don't stop it. So children were asking me this, so that was very lovely. And we also piloted this program with facilitators. Like there were 2 sets, like one was like very new, like as new, like they joined the organization and we are doing this art exploration with them, and facilitators who were really been with us for a long time. But it really worked so strongly with both of them. For new facilitators, it was like it set such a strong foundation for them, and they became so receptive for later learnings. And most of them came and like after having so many sessions with them, they still, I mean, last week itself, I remember one of my facilitator came and told me that that art session was something really amazing that I remember forever in my life. So that opened up their mind, you know, when they joined, for the new joiners. But for the existing, like the experienced one, they were able to reflect on their own gaps, or like, you know, and they were able to identify, you know, how powerful it is, and they became better facilitators, and their facilitation skill really improved, and they became more reflective. Especially they shared me with a lot of things they shared, but I really want to highlight on few things that especially about the prompts, how to give prompts to children, how to nudge them. Earlier it used to be like we really actually, especially as a content developer, I somewhere think that I failed to bring out that detailing in the work that children were doing. Even I could not like even guide my facilitators like how to bring it out. But this really helped, this art sessions, or like giving prompts to children at what time, how much to give and when to give, how to give. These are things that they reflected a lot, and almost in all of their reflective journals, they've, most of them have written about the prompts, you know, that really helped them so much. And also they also thought about like how to ask questions, you know. Otherwise it used to be how was it, okay, children used to say that it was nice, or even facilitators, it did, how was the session, it was nice, but nothing beyond that. But later they reflected a lot, and even me, I reflected a lot on like how to ask question. It's so important, you have to think so much to ask even a question during the session, so that it brings out that deeper understanding. So I'm very glad that my facilitators really, you know, reflected a lot on these things. And yeah, actually after this, like I resonate with what Rohit said. Like it's like everyone's mindset in our organization also changed after this. We actually rethought about the model that we have, like how to integrate. We actually use a holistic model, which is SPICE model, which we were doing like, you know, very individually, like without separately. They were not like connected or but somewhere after this ArtSparks, I think I'm very confident. I was very confident that we can do this integrated. And now my team members are very confident we should go with this approach of integrated art. And that's really amazing. And I'm also very thankful for my team Makara Jagriti, they're so receptive and they're so eager to learn. And they accepted that this really works and we should try it out. So that's how we got so much rich experiences here. And if you can see here, children have, we also did an exhibition after the pilot that we had, where children themselves planned their exhibitions, and they came up, it was like a festival, they were planning everything, and nothing like facilitators didn't do, they just facilitated, or they just gave them like collected, or they were nudging wherever required, but everything was planned with them. I think for me, it was like we could not get this output even for 1 year, but we could do it in just 2 weeks. It was so amazing. Like all those SEL skills that we are talking, it is so visible in every child. They were collaborating, communicating. They were so confident about what they are doing. And even if you see the detailing, we did it in like, I think 5-6 clusters, and each one was so unique. They came up with their own plan, and they planned everything on their own, and they were very, very confident. It was mind blowing actually. And yeah, that's something really stood out very well, and which gave us a lot of confidence to go with this approach. For me personally, also, like when I explore art with children, it gave me a lot of confidence that I can integrate it with anything and everything. It really worked out well with languages, creative writing. I mean, I can go on forever. Maybe I can stop it there. This is very special to me. There are many things which are very special, but I really want to highlight on this, especially with the childcare center. This child here at the left-hand side, her name is Bharti. I remember the first day when I asked her to do, when we did this collage with paper, she was not ready to tear her paper because she was not allowed to even tear the paper, which is waste paper. Why are you wasting paper? And she was so scared actually. When I told her to tear the paper, she was really, really confused. What is happening here? I mean, she's telling me to tear this beautiful, colorful, neat paper when I was not allowed to tear even the rough paper. So she was very confused. But later she really reflected and told that she shared that, she felt really happy after tearing it, and how she reflected on how to manage her own emotion. She said that, like, when after tearing, it's so beautiful, I can create something beautiful out of this paper also. Maybe I can use it when I'm angry. Sometimes when I'm angry also. That was really, really special for me, because how this is like the power of art. It's just happened in just one session. Yeah, and next steps, there are lots, but I've just put some of them. And art integrated, especially for children home, it really works. Like I said, it was the proof. My ALP was the biggest proof, and our art intervention pilot was a proof for us that it really works. So we are trying to integrate the curriculum especially for childcare centers, maybe in steps or going forward. We'll do it in a full curriculum. And especially for me, I really want to say this integration of art with libraries. I did few sessions with reading out the books recently. It came out so powerful. So integrating it in the libraries is something I'm looking forward to. And training, especially training models, like I said, we trained facilitators using art. It came out really, really amazing. It gave amazing results, especially in terms of like their facilitation skills. So definitely art will be there in our training modules. And personally, I'm trying out wellness session using art. It's giving amazing results, how people are able to manage their emotions, understand themselves better. They are becoming so self-aware. They also shared with me like how powerful it was, even though it was just a 2 hours of session, or even if it's like continuous session. So definitely I'm trying out that, and I tried with many of the participants. It really worked out well. And one of my, I'm also thinking about to integrate. I'm already collaborated with one of my friends, where she works with neurodivergent children, especially to start conversation, like resonate with what Rohit said. I really want to see that power of art, how it can bring out smile on children. So that is one thing which is on there in my mind, and most of it are in progress. I just want to end it with the journal of my son. Like Roshni said, yes, I'm also a very reflective mother. So this is why with his permission, I took it from his journal where he wrote this. I thought it's really, really powerful because I saw his journey, because earlier he didn't, he was very hesitant. He never tried to draw or sketch with pencil. It was really very, he had a little maybe a self-critic about himself. But after we explored this close observation drawing, and he has come out with, I mean, this is just a sample, but I think I can share like a book of him, like where he sketches, because he loves mythology. He's doing this sketch all by himself. Some of them are like observing, close observation sketches. Some of his are his own characters that he's creating. So I felt it's really lovely to just share with you all. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ramya, for sharing your amazing journey with us. And with that, we have come to the end of our speaker's presentation. Lovely to hear all these stories coming from different parts of India, and how art is connecting everyone, everything's together, and the transformative power of art. So now what we'll do is we have another 10 minutes we'll take. So we'll open up the floor for any comments, any questions that is coming to your mind, or in general, if you want to share any thoughts, please go ahead and put it in the chat box. You can also unmute and speak. And also I can see some of our cohort members here, so happy to see them too. So if any of you would like to share any comments, any thoughts, it's open to all of you also. Anyone? Okay, we are getting some comments. This was great sharing. Nisha, would you like to share something?
I might kick it off with a question, which is, I'm so curious to kind of hear, and anyone can chime in on this, but that we spoke a lot about, and some of you've touched upon this as well, but we spoke a lot about the power of inquiry. And, rather than telling all the time, switching that around and instead really questioning and posing questions so that the children can respond. I'm curious to just kind of hear from any one of you. What were some of your observations about the use of, this notion of the power of inquiry, switching it up from, again, telling to asking questions? Do you have an anecdote of, a student responding to that in a way that kind of surprised you, that reinforced to you the power of inquiry? I'm curious to hear a little bit about that, if anyone has anything to share.
Any of you can unmute and, just chime in if you feel like answering.
Nisha, can I go? I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, this happened when I tried this art session investigation with some of the children who are already doing artwork, like they were with art and craft already. But they experienced so much difference, and then they found it like so freedom. They actually told me that it is so different, even though I've been to so many art sessions earlier. This was so different. I never thought that I could come up with something like this, like that inquiry and questioning. So this was one thing that I wanted to share.
Yeah. Rohit, I noticed you were unmuted.
Yeah. So I think there are two things. For the very younger children, they have little or no experience with art. So when I did this with very little children, so they were more of, as Ramya said, they were feeling more freedom, and it was a little easy to have that conversation. But the same thing happened with the little older children. They were expecting us to tell us that what to do, or they were they were not very comfortable with that inquiry thing, they were like they were more into that instructed thing. So yeah, so it happened like there was something different for them as well, that ये भैया ने क्या मतलब भैया की पूछ रहे हैं, या फिर अब बताओ हमें क्या बनाना है. If they are tearing the paper, they are investigating only, so they were trying कि हम क्या बनाएं, like they have to represent something. So and we were like, let's find out that how you going to tear the paper, how you're going to cut that paper. So yeah, so with the older children, I have seen that it happens a lot, that they are not very comfortable in the starting initial phases. They are not very comfortable with that inquiry when switching to the inquiry mode. Otherwise, with the younger children, they are very free and they are very happy to go. Like they are just वो कर लेंगे, उनको बस ये है, and then they will tell you also. So that is my experience with both set of children.
Yeah, very interesting points that you both make. And I think that if I might say, what ends up happening is within an environment and system of education that tends to promote rote learning and memorization and feeding of knowledge, as Paulo Freire used to call it, the banking system of education. Children are empty vessels into which knowledge is provided. What ends up happening is there becomes this kind of that becomes the familiar, and therefore, when inquiry is brought in, which is really about a little bit more critical thinking, you have to think. It takes its own time to, to become, for children to become accustomed to it, and for it to become the new normal. But the power of that is tremendous, and therefore being able to stick the course. I think in another point you made, Rohit, where you said that sometimes we go back to our familiar. And so, for those who are kind of working with children, how to just stay on that course of trying to ensure that inquiry becomes the new normal, and the kids will feel a little uncomfortable. Younger kids are much more inclined to trying out things than older kids, so on and so forth. But just getting through that hump could be really powerful. And that's something to kind of keep in mind. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I think we have a few questions coming, so we'll just take one question, and then few of them has raised their hand. We'll go to them also. So we have a question. This is wonderful. I see stories from villages. How do you connect with these villages? Yeah, anybody would like to just talk about with communities, if you have engaged with communities or villages? So I feel it's easy to tell your people, like your organization, about it, but I think this question is very interesting. How do you talk about it to others, about these art interventions? How do you connect with the community and villages? Yes, Soumya.
I can go for, So we've been working in the villages since 2016, and we have been they've been seeing us, we're familiar faces for them firstly. So that kind of helps to start the dialogue with the communities. And some of the things that are important to be able to connect with communities, most of our fellows are also from the very own village, the very villages that we do the intervention. So that is one thing, so that language barrier isn't there. But even if there are fellows who are from outside, they live there. So I think that is one thing that connects to them immediately, sharing festival days with them, or, having those evening times just to relax with them, connect with them. So that's one thing I think that helps really to connect with the community. And second thing is, when you're working in a school, what usually happens is I go to school and I come back home from school. But after school closes, just picking 5 children a day, where you go and spend some time there at their home, showing them the kind of, their portfolios, or talking to them about what happened in school today, are doing certain things. So these are I think, couple of strategies that we use. And we are running a fellowship program where young people are invited to apply, and for 2 years they go through some training to work in the school, in the community. So these are the strategies we handhold them with. So I think that really helps to connect.
Yeah.
And the third thing is, in the learning festival, on the last day, we invite the communities to come and participate. They'll come and they enter the school boundary. They kind of converse with the children. They see children in that school environment. So that kind of helps them to say, okay, this is the other world of my child, and I'm also entering there. So I think there are a couple of strategies that helps to connect with the communities.
Thank you, Soumya, for sharing. And I remember whenever seeing Soumya's, when she shares images of working with children with art and communities, you'll see always a crowd there. You will see some people, they can be parents or people from communities who are eager to see what children are doing and also having conversations with them about what they are doing. So I think allowing that space where they all can co-create is also important and have those dialogues with the children. It's interesting. Yeah. So we'll just take another couple of questions, and I can see Faiz Ahmed. You have any question? I can see your hand raised. You can unmute and speak. Okay, I'm not sure if he's there. If anybody else would like to, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hi Mansi. Manasi is our another lovely cohort member. Manasi, you want to share?
Yes. Hello, Nisha. Hello, Rashmi. And it was so lovely to hear Soumya, Rohit, and Ramya sharing their stories. I also could go back to those experiences. And yeah, like for me, I'm also, since childhood, I'm associated with art. And ArtSpark has actually broadened my perspective on visual arts. And like through the action learning project that we went through, when I have worked with children and I have seen those skills developed in them, within such a small period of time. And I was wondering if we work with children for a year long on art and how it would be. And also the program actually helped me to reflect and connect to how we actually see art in school or any educational spaces in such a limited way, which I always say about competitions. And I have been part of it, and how that mindset shift, and I could connect to it, like why during my childhood I didn't like competitions, because how it takes away the confidence of children, and how it doesn't give equal opportunity to everyone. No, so yes, I am like Rohit have already shared, Soumya. There are so many common learnings. So this is one of the things I would like to share. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Manasi, for sharing your thoughts. Lovely to hear. Just for others to know, Manasi is from IAM Trust. They work in Assam, Majuli area. So thank you, Manasi. Yeah. And Faiz, are you able to unmute and ask question if you have any?
Yeah, that's my son's.
Oh yeah, Yasmin.
I used गलती से मुझसे वो use हो गया. It's Yasmin here.
Yeah, hi Yasmin.
Hi. I have a question for the people who said they've collaborated with their facilitators. I'm assuming there are more teachers there. So I find it extremely difficult to motivate the teachers I'm working with within my department, within the art department, So I want to do this integrated curriculum, and I'm dreading asking other teachers to participate because they are so unwilling to let go of, hum set hain, hum sahi hain, we don't want to look at any other. So did you encounter that, and how did you overcome that? I mean, it's such a big issue with me. I'm really finding it difficult.
I know that all of you had worked with facilitators, teachers. Anybody who would like to just pitch in?
I'm going to let Rohit, and then I'll chime in as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will keep happening. It is still happening with me, and it will take time. What I did is, like, I initiated conversation. It didn't work. I started doing sessions with them. Sorry, I first showed them कि ऐसा ऐसा हो सकता है. मतलब I showed them the possibilities. It didn't happen. Then I let them do a lot of things. Then gradually it started कि हाँ होना start हुआ. And you have to constantly, what I have done is I have constantly gave them confidence as affirmations, more than confidence. It is like affirmation that yes, you can do that. And it's absolutely fine if you are doing whatever way you are doing. it's not, there is no right and no wrong, like letting them in the comfort zone, that there is no judgments present, and everything is welcome in that space. So it's not a, again, it's not a one day thing or a one event thing. You have to keep doing that and keep tapping again and again and again. I think that will break this chain, or that will break this myth, because somehow it worked for me, but still I think there is something left. There are some things left कि अभी भी वो चीज है कि नहीं, मेरे से नहीं हो सकता, but it is changing. By the time it will definitely change, that is for sure, because कुछ नहीं से कुछ होना start हुआ है, तो definitely it will happen in future time, but you have to keep tapping in.
I thought it's me, so I told them ये ArtSparks के session देखा करो, तुम लोग motivate हो जाओगे, and they don't even join. I mean, I was just calling up everyone, खुदा का वास्ता है join कर लो, and they did not, you know. अब मैं कितना spoon feed कर सकती हूँ? If they themselves are so spoon fed and they are themselves not motivated, how will they motivate children? How will they motivate students?
I think one thing which Ramya said also, that sorry, Roshni said about Ramya, that you have to change yourself. You have to bring something in yourself. I think Ramya can tell more about it. That you have to do something in yourself to let people do. So yeah.
I think I will have to pay them now.
I think I'll just chime in to, I'm curious, Yasmin, when you're talking about the, you know, the teachers that you're working with, are they educators? Are they, you know, so they've taught before in the field? Yes. So I'm going to comment on that. And I think that, like, so at ArtSparks, the women that we hire to work in the local communities are facilitators. We particularly look for women who don't necessarily have any teaching experiences and any art experiences, because it's a blank slate onto which you can kind of, you know, bring some new ideas. What happens sometimes with pre-existing educators is there is a belief that I already know what, you know, I've done teaching before, I know what's right or wrong. And so it's a harder thing to kind of get past, not to say that it isn't possible, but it is much harder. And I can commiserate with what you're saying, which is, you know, because again, you're faced with sometimes those barriers to thinking. It's a little bit of that fixed mindset. Nope, I know what I know what I know. And so then to try and infuse new ideas. But we find that again, with folks who are coming in, we do have to go the extra mile to bring them into understanding pedagogy and all of that stuff. But once we do, we find that they're much more like sponges, because they don't have that previous background understanding in education. So I think that I would think that we might be in a similar boat if we were, you know, confronted with what you're confronting. So
actually,
you know.
I'm looking at my PhD research I'm using action research, and action research requires these teachers within this setup to work with me. They are quite unwilling to do that. And I'm just envisioning these Saturdays where I'll have to beg everyone and coax everyone to sort of come and do this with me. And I'm just dreading it right now. So I was just wondering how, and they are so, mashallah, Ramya and Rohit, and everyone is so happy, and the facilitators around them are so motivated. So I thought, क्या खाते हैं, क्या पीते हैं, मुझे भी पता चले.
I just want to add that, like, definitely what you're saying is true. It's not always for us, like, we have like great experiences always, but even the small things that happens matters a lot. It takes time, like what Rohit said. First day, nothing will happen. We also experience so much. Right, especially I know what you're talking, especially with the teachers. Like, these are facilitators we hire and we pick them, but when we have to work with teachers in school, it's a different story. We encounter that they have so much resistance. Maybe can we also be more empathetic, understand from where they are coming? They've never been exposed to anything like this. They've never been exposed to non-judgment, or they're always being judged, or they don't know this environment. Maybe if you can give them just one experience of this, definitely things starts changing. Because I've seen that we work with CCI staffs, like childcare center staffs, where they have never been exposed to anything like this. Even for them to create that space of non-judgmental itself is so overwhelming for them. I mean, you can start seeing changes, but it will not happen in 1 day or 2 day, but definitely consistency and is the key. I mean, that's what I would love to say, add that, but also to understand from where they are coming from will also help us to break that barrier.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramya. Thank you, Yasmin, for it. So yeah, it's not an easy journey, but yeah, we are educators, we are artists, we all keep trying, we never give up. Yeah, so let's be in that attitude. So with that, I think we'll come to an end of this session. And before we wrap up, just want to remind all of you that we have our opening for our new ArtSparks cohort. The applications are open till September 8th. So all of you can check it out in our website. And I have shared the link in the chat box. Do check it out. If you find you can, next time you can be the one who's sharing your transformative journey with all of us. So really excited to see many of you for our ArtSparks collective too. It's a 12-session annual professional development program by ArtSparks Foundation, who would like to explore the power of visual art in transforming children's learning, growth, development. Open to anyone who would like to work with children, parent, educator, facilitators from any profession. It's open to all of you. So do check it out. And thank you once again, Ramya, Rohit, Soumya, for sharing your journey with us and inspiring all of us. And thank you, all of you, for joining us on a Saturday morning. So thank you, everyone. See you for our next session.